Thank you very much, Helen. As you understand from our performance today, we are a group of fairly emotional people. At the same time, we are fairly realistic, and we are knowledgeable, all of us, somehow. And at the same time, because we are knowledgeable, we also respect the fact that we are becoming sick by dementia. We need assistance. Most of us are able to rely on close family to give us that assistance. And we need to ask for help when we want to travel or whatever. This is not a very good situation to be in for anybody, for any grown-ups, and certainly not for grandfathers. So at one time I had to tell my little son, my grandson, about my sickness, because I was a little bit unsure whether he could at one time meet me, and I couldn't remember his name. So as soon as I thought about my sickness, I told him at bedtime that I have a sickness in my head, might not be able to remember your name, but I'm still your grandfather. And from then on, we have stayed that way. He knows my restrictions, and I trust him to help me whenever I need help. We come to an end of our session. We are indeed very grateful for your presence here. Would you like to have any questions or comments, Your Highness? No. No.
We are not coming to an end because we still have some minutes, and we appreciate if you have a question to the people on stage and to Alf or to any one of us. I'm sure you have.
Maybe. Yep.
Hi there. Thank you. It was very, very poignant and lovely presentations. I mean, I've seen Agnes before, and I think she's such a natural presenter. She puts many of the professors, to shame. My name's Margaret. I'm a carer from Scotland. I'm also a dementia researcher, and I'm also a community psychiatric nurse. And it's quite interesting when I go around the conferences, and because I think the human rights issue for me is the most important one, because we now have dementia being discussed on the world stage, the World Health Organization, on the global stage, but it's as if there's a bit of a cloud that separates the people on the ground. Because even like the Glasgow strategy and the Prime Minister's challenge and everything, it's kind of directed at the professionals. And I don't know, in the UK we have the Mental Capacity Act, which was 2005, 2007. And I ask myself, well, why is it this question of people with dementia about their human rights and about citizenship? Because we are people, people with dementia are citizens, so why do we have to do all of this? So, I involved 6 people in my research recently, and I used the Mental Capacity Act, and that was it. So, but thank you very much.
We still have a few minutes, so Helen, you have a question, comment?
Well, no, I just think from a personal experience, I think it's when I was diagnosed over 4.5 years ago now, there was very little talk about rights, and I think it's just in recent times. I know Scotland, I'm not sure what year you brought this, we followed you, and I think before this, we were put in homes, as I talked about. We were not allowed legal capacity, so now we have a voice, and our voice has been, we hope our voices are being listened to, and that's why we're speaking out about our rights, because we want to be listened to, and we want everybody, not from the top down, but from the bottom up, to listen.
Yes, I agree that we have countries like Scotland who come from a human rights base, but when we, the people with dementia, when we are sitting here, we try to talk and leave a legacy and speak for those whose voices are being not allowed. And it's in countries sometimes that even without dementia, your voices are not being heard. And even although there is human rights, it's not even being allowed to be talked about in certain parts of the country. So to answer your question, I think what we're doing is we're trying to show by example, and we're trying to get it into the World Health Organization, and so that they can try and make it right for people who are being punished because they've got a diagnosis of dementia. And I know people in the room have heard today about Nikki in another part of the world, and she was talking about people being flogged and incarcerated and families being shunned in their villages because they have someone with dementia in their home. So we've got to do that to try and make them come up so that they can get a basic standard of rights as well, you know. But I love what you say. Thank you.
Just a final sentence. Of course, everyone of you here needs a respect of the basic human rights. The fragile ones, like I call us, maybe more. But alone we can't. And again, a big appreciation to Alzheimer Europe, who gave us a voice, and through this voice, the voice is a European working group, we are going on the higher level. And I'm sure then it's a matter of the national strategies, but we are taking into consideration the carer, everyone. Thank you. Dr. Holmerova, please.
Thank you very much, Helga, for your thank you. And I would like to say thank you also because Alzheimer Europe feels and knows that your contribution of the European group is extremely important. And it has been clearly shown also during this meeting because you provided us with very concrete examples. For instance, how it is difficult with the decisions if stay at home, about your right to stay at home, and etc., etc. And therefore it is a clue issue. It is so extremely important for Alzheimer Europe to have you to work with us, and I think that we really appreciate it and look forward to collaborate with the whole group in the future as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for some extra contributions.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you very much for your speeches, for all three of you, or maybe I should say four of you. It makes a fantastic, really, really impression. I get emotionally touched by you and your stories, and thank you so much for bringing it to us. A little comment on the rights about being cared for or being offered care at home. In Denmark, there is absolutely a basic right to stay at home as long as you need. And you are assessed not by age, but by your disability. So it's the functional level, both the mental and the physical functional level, that decides which kind of help you are provided with. And it does not depend on whether you live at home or you live in a nursing home. So it is your needs that governs what happens. So I think it's a very important thing for me to emphasize. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd like to make a final remark because I'm Roosemarie Dreus, Professor Dreus from Amsterdam VU University, and we ask feedback to the European Working Group on an article on social health. And I hope you remember. It's an article on what is social health for people with dementia. It was about the definition. It's a new definition which trying to improve the definition of the WHO, and which focuses more on adjusting to chronic diseases instead of being 100% healthy. Because we have lots of people who have some disease, and we cannot call all these people all the time sick. And so it was about adjustment to chronic diseases, and that's one of the part of this health idea is social health. And we asked the working group to comment on how we as researchers, we had an Amsterdam group, a task force on social health, and we asked the working group to comment on that, how we operationalized this concept. And we were very happy with your comments. And I'm pleased to tell you that the article is accepted now, and that also your comments are in the article, and it will be published in January 2017. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I think that was a perfect final comment. Bringing us together with, sorry, oh, we have.
Thank you. I'm Nelida. I came from Madeira Island, a little island from Portugal, and I'm a carrier of my mom that's sitting here next to me. She's got Alzheimer's since a few years ago, and unfortunately in my country, in my island, we don't have so much information about the disease. Fortunately, we now start to get in the working group. And I'm so pleased to be here with you. And we've got so many things to have about our own experience, because I had to be autodidact because I don't have many knowledge about the disease at all. Anyway, I just want about Helga, you made me cry today, as a lot of people here, but I really understand what you actually said, and your son, about the carriers and all the hard work we have to do. But I still believe we are managed to see that people with dementia, they are common people, and it's very important for her and for me that we can travel, we can continue to do our lives as we made until now. Thanks very much.
I think this gentleman was first, but I'm not sure.
My name is Peter Mittler. Like some of you, I have a background in human rights. 10 years ago, I got my diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, and I've made a special study of the convention long before I knew it would affect me personally. So there's going to be a bit more information about this in a session later this afternoon. which we can give you. But I have some bad news to bring you, and I mentioned it briefly to the panel this morning, and none of them responded. It's a very good convention. People with disabilities worked very hard for it, but people with dementia have not yet benefited. That's going to end very soon. The process of change has started. I think we will have benefit from it, but at the moment, no country has included people with dementia in their implementation of the convention. There are about 43 countries. Then we have some European dementia strategies, and they are not built on the convention, and yet their governments have made a commitment to it in international law. And as I said this morning, this is what the United Nations calls systemic discrimination. This is what we are suffering in dementia. I think the situation is going to end with the European Working Group. Helen knows a great deal about the convention. I have my own knowledge of it, both as an advocate for people with intellectual disabilities, but also from the research side. Kate Swaffer, the chair of Dementia Alliance International, was the first person to demand access to the CRPD at the World Health Organization.
Peter?
So we are on a roll towards it, but at the moment we're not benefiting, but we will.
Thank you so much, Peter, for your comment. We will go on with this topic, of course, in the coming days. Stefania, please, the last question for Stefania.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to congratulate to all speakers for your presentations, and I would like to stress how very difficult it is to find people with dementia to come to such conferences, to speak, and to speak in, so you speak, they speak in the name of all others who can't come and who can't speak. So it's on us to fight, to support and to fight for human rights for people with dementia. Thank you and congratulations.
Then I take this opportunity to say thank you very much, and hope you have picked up some ideas.
Your Royal Highness, we would be very honored if you are prepared to take a picture with us and to give a statement, your personal view to, if I tell you one sentence, despite dementia, how would you like to live your life? Thank you so much. So the picture, come on, the speakers. We need here in front of this one, or the other one. Michael, what do you say?
You need to get Hillary here. Donna, will you tell Hillary she's over there? Please, for me to come. Agnes.